divine aid. We're not going to be able to overcome that tendency of ourselves.
That's an assumption that I just don't agree with.
Okay. Let's see if we can figure out some ways in which we might have some evidence for or against it. It strikes me that there could be some psychological evidence if you leave the God part out. We might be able to get some psychological evidence about people's habits and dispositions, right, and their tendencies toward behavior. By the way, this is almost always bad news. All the news from psychology, from cognitive psychology, from developmental psychology, all the news is bad. Right? If you're looking for evidence of human perfectibility, rationality, and goodness, cognitive psychology is the last place you want to look, because it turns out that almost all the psychological evidence is bad. It turned out to be enormously stupid and irrational, and I'm not sure about the moral evidence. I can imagine if there would be moral evidence. I'm not holding out much hope that the evidence is going to be much better. So maybe there's some kind of evidence that we could agree about, that we find as evidence, scientific evidence, that might incline the scale slightly in favor of the idea that, look, it's going to be really hard for us, constituted as we are, to overcome this innate selfishness that we have. And one of the things that, in fact, here's some more evidence, one of the things that, in fact, does incline people to overcome their selfishness is their belief that God requires them. That God requires of them that they overcome their selfishness. So that doesn't exactly get God in it, just gets the belief in God in it. But, think what I'm saying.
Does it come back to the belief that there might be some kind of return on their investment, I guess, because even the whole God thing, the idea is that if you do these things and live up to that, you go to heaven, which is really a good thing.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And
what that goes back to, it still seems self-serving.
Right. So a lot of what passes for religion is really just a form of dressed up selfishness. Right. If I'm doing it, well, I really don't want to park for that 25 cents a day. But what's 25 cents a day for, what I got to live, maybe 20, 25 years? What's 25 cents a day for 20, 25 years compared to an absolutely endless span of bliss that I'll get as a payoff? Right? That's kind of a cheap religion there. Right? It seems to me that if that's what's going on, then in fact, what looks like self-sacrificing love is really just a kind of an enlightened self-interest, maybe, right? Like, well, yeah, I'm going to suffer now, because I'm going to lose my quarter every day, but the payoff will be big in the long run. Right? And it looks like it's just a dressed-up form of selfishness. Daniel?
Yeah, we're videotaping your presentation, by the way. We're running low on time. So could you quickly, summarize?
I'm going to put it down because I would have been a lot more nervous before.
Could you briefly just summarize what you're saying, and then we'll cut the video off, and you can go back to talk.
Okay. Can I summarize what I'm saying? There are tremendous metaphysical, epistemological, and axiological advantages to the view that God exists. But it's difficult to prove that God exists. Actually, it would be advantageous if I could fly without an airplane, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But think about what the world looks like if this isn't true and everything else I've said is true. That we really are sunk, right? That we need a God in order to provide us with these explanatory advantages to provide us with the kind of understanding that we'd like to have, and more importantly, to provide us with the moral standards and the moral energy that we need in order to live up to our genuine obligations. But we're not going to get it. It's kind of sunk without time.
Well, the explanation part seems to be, that necessity seems to be dwindling as time goes by, and we understand more about how everything works. So that side.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So one problem is, right, how do you reconcile the God here with the physical universe, which, although our understanding of the universe is limited, it's certainly a lot better than it used to be, and it's expanding every day, right? And we certainly don't want, I don't think we want anyway, speaking to the free thinkers here, so I should probably...
No, sure.
Too many people, if I say, look, I mean, I don't think we want a God according to which Genesis is literally true, right? Because Genesis can't be literally true if the law of non-contradiction is correct, right? Because you get sort of conflicting accounts in different chapters of Genesis about what was created when. So that can't be literally true. And so if we suppose that a religious viewpoint, a viewpoint according to which there's a God, is an alternative to a scientific account, the religious account is going to be in big trouble. The science is going to displace it all the time, and you're always going to have this big problem on hand about